kubeflow, 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 kubeflow. What's up, YouTubers? Thanks for joining me. I am excited today to bring to you kubeflow. What is kubeflow, you ask? Kubeflow is a way to manage your machine learning infrastructure on Kubernetes. So kubeflow lets you run your Jupyter notebooks. It lets you pick which machine learning models to run, and it allows you to do it in such a way that you can hopefully gain more repeatability. Okay, so you can run this on your laptop in Minikube. You can run it on your server if you have a server at your house that has like a GPU that you want to do your training on. And it's really quite easy. We're going to do it the hardest way, like we always do. And we're actually going to install a real Kubernetes cluster, not using Minikube. So you can also do this on Minikube, and it makes it a lot easier. We're not going to do that. We're going to be standing up an entire Kubernetes cluster with a one control plane and one worker. So it's not a high available cluster, but we're going to be running on the home server here. And the worker is going to be a worker that has a 4400 GPU. And we'll set it up to run our machine learning workflows, and we'll set up some pipelines and everything. In this first episode, all we're going to do is install Kubernetes using kubeadm, and then install kubeflow on top of that.
All right, so let's go over just some of the basics really quickly. We have a 2-node setup. We have a control plane node that's running in KVM, and that's this terminal. And then we have this terminal over here on the right side, which is our worker, which is a bare metal machine. What is kubeflow? I think I already did an introduction on that. All right, so let's get into this. We're going to use kubeadm to install our cluster. So let's go ahead and set up our control plane. So let's do kubeadm. We're going to have to run sudo kubeadm init. And then what we're going to want to make sure when we run this init is that we actually pass in the right CIDR range. So you can run with a standard one for Calico, but I can't do that. The standard Calico actually conflicts with my home domain. So I actually want to make sure. Let's do this, and then let's open up our Calico YAML here, and we're going to search for CIDR, right? And here you're going to notice this number. This is the CIDR that we want for our IPv4, and this is not going to conflict with my home. You're going to see that there is this pod network CIDR string, and that's what we want to update kubeadm to handle. So we're going to run kubeadm init, and then we're going to run pod network CIDR, and we're going to set that equal to this IP address. So this is the CIDR that we want to use. So this is going to run init. First, it's going to run pre-flight checks. As long as those pass, then it's going to move on to actually installing the control plane. There's not a whole lot we can do, so we're just going to wait for this to complete. It shouldn't take too long, though. So as soon as that finishes, it's going to give us a little bit of stuff, and we can actually run these. You can just copy and paste them. Easy peasy. You want to copy and paste each one of these. I already have a old kube config there, and then where you want to own the new file. All right. Now we also want to add our own pod network YAML. This is the file that you saw. So I want to point out that it's very important to save this because this will make it a lot easier when you're wanting to join. You already have a discovery token cert hash and this token. You can regenerate these if you need to, but it's just easier if you remember them. It lasts for 24 hours, so you only have 24 hours to use this. We can look at our nodes and we can see that our control plane isn't ready, and that's because we don't have a networking. So let's apply our networking. And we want to apply the Calico YAML. We can do kubectl get pods, all namespaces, and we can see in the kube system some Calico stuff is standing up. So we have This is the Kubernetes stuff, and here's some Calico stuff and some core DNS. It's still creating, so we're gonna let that finish creating before we add worker nodes. And by worker nodes, I mean worker node. All right, so it's stood up. You should be able to see then if you run the git nodes command that, as you can see, it's saying its status is ready. Now we're ready to stand up to our worker node. On our worker node, we can just paste this. Now, one thing that you're going to want, if you run this like this, you're going to see a pre-flight error. We're not running as privileged. So let's go ahead and fix that. I'm also going to just fix this spacing because it annoys me. All right. So we got to run. All right, there we go. So this is going to join to the control plane, and it shouldn't take too long. So now that that is done, we can move on to the fun and exciting things. Let's first make sure that it's all set up. So we'll just run kubectl get nodes again, and we can see that our worker node is up and running. To install kubeflow, it requires a dynamic provisioner, or at least it's easier. You could probably make all the persistent volume claims if you wanted to by hand, but we don't really want to. So we're going to use something made by Rancher, which is a built-in local persistent volume feature for Kubernetes. So if we do kubectl get, this is short for storage class, SC. No resources found. We don't have any storage classes. And that is our problem. So we're going to install Rancher's local path storage. All right. And it looks like it was created. So let's go ahead and check our. So it is running. We can do O wide because I like to do this just to make sure it's running on the worker node. And you can see our CIDR is working and this looks good. Let's go ahead and give a quick check to our persistent volumes. All right, so we don't have any persistent volumes. Let's check our storage class. All right, so now we can see that we have a storage class. So one problem looking at this is not the default provisioner, and we need to make it the default provisioner. It will be kubectl patch storage class. All right, so now we want to patch the local path provisioner. That's the name right there. And we want to patch it with this right here. So all this is doing is setting this storage class Kubernetes IO is default class to true. That's all. If you're typing this out, remember single quotes on the outside because you need double quotes on the inside. All right. So now if we do the kubectl get sc, we'll notice this word default here, saying it is the default storage class. That is exactly what we wanted. So now that we're done with that, we can go ahead and install kubeflow. So if you go here, and the kubeflow documentation can be a little bit hard to find exactly what you're wanting to do, but what I found the easiest is under the about, you can see that they have these things here. But what you really want here is the getting started guide. And in the getting started guide, you can see installing kubeflow, which it's kind of interesting. This is the confusing part here, is they list out all these different ways to install. So what we want is this one right here. We're not installing on any of the public clouds. And I believe these, actually, let's check one of them, is probably like a mini cube. Yeah, mini kubeflow with a Vagrant or virtual box. So you're running that inside of VM. But anyway, so we're going to just deploy it on Kubernetes. So you have to have one worker node, which we do. And right now it's not compatible with 1.16. So we have a 1.15 version of Kubernetes. All right, so looking at this and preparing your environment, you need to download the release. I've already done this. It's just unpacking and untarring it. So, all right, moving on. Set up your path to your kubeflow. This you can do if you like. It's up to you. You need to be able to find this command. And right now, that command is in my home directory. All right, so then we're going to name our kubeflow. All right. So let's go ahead and give our kubeflow deployment the name of Bobby. Our kubeflow deployment is called Bobby. Our base directory is going to be kubeflow-dir. That's going to be our base directory. Our base directory is not going to have that on it. There you go. And then our kubeflow directory is going to be the amalgamation of those two, and let's put those on here. So it's just the base directory with the kubeflow name, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And now this is where we're going to give the config URI. You can make your own config if you want to edit that variable here. I have actually brought this value here so we can take a quick look at it, just see what it's doing under the hood. And in a production, you never want to actually just run something you found from the internet. But this is the kubeflow manifest. It is just a bunch of manifests. That's all it is. It's a bunch of manifests for the different things kubeflow wants to run. So now that we've done all that, we have set up this. I think, no, we didn't actually do that part. So we've set our config URI. We're going to go into our kubeflow directory. I keep hitting shift. Okay, so we're going to copy this. Now, one thing, if you don't know what the P does, this means basically a recursive make directory. They could have used an R, I think, but this is, I think, parent directory. So it's going to make all of the directories up to the ones that we want. We're going to actually CD into them. If I could actually just copy and paste correctly. We're into Bobby. Bobby's there. And now we're going to apply. We're going to use the CTL to apply this configuration that we pulled down. So that right there. And you just have to run it several times. It's a little broken. Just keep running it. I thought at first that you need to run sudo, but you don't actually have to run it via sudo because it's really just installing stuff in Kubernetes. And since it's in my home path, if you do it in opt, like they say, a common one is, you would have to run it with sudo. But since we were in the home directory, don't need to run it in sudo. But it's a little janky. We're getting everything. We're getting all that's in the namespace kubeflow. So this takes just a second to return. It takes just a second, and I don't expect everything to be up yet. It takes it a little while to get going. All right. Look at this. It is deployed. All of your resources are here, and they're almost all ready to use already.
Thanks for watching again, and I hope that you enjoyed this content. If you did, please let me know by liking and subscribing. I look forward to making more.